In late 2022, a map that could revolutionize our understanding of the origins of modern mapmaking was rediscovered. Created in the aftermath of the Black Death, this map is the fourth oldest surviving complete portolan chart of Europe. The chart is believed to have been created in Venice, due to its use of Venetian vernacular and Venice being drawn as the largest city on the map. But the map was left unsigned, and many of its features are unique. So its author is yet to be identified, and it cannot be classed with any known school of cartography. It's been named the Rex Ptolemaios map. This is due to the portrait at the bottom right of the map of Ptolemy, the 2nd century Roman mathematician and geographer, but here he's depicted as a king. The author likely confused the geographer with the Ptolemaic dynasty of Greek kings, who ruled Egypt from 305 to 30 BC. Their reign ended over 100 years before the Roman geographer was ever born. The map was first discovered in 1888 by an Italian scholar searching through the library of Prince Corsini's palace in Florence. This portolan chart was one of at least 4 found in the Corsini collection, and the scholar dated it between 1347 and 1354. Over the subsequent 4 decades, the Rex Ptolemaios portolan was featured in several published studies, all concluding that it originated in the 14th century. Sometime after 1929, the chart was purchased by Florence-born Anglo-Italian photographer John Alfred Springer, with whom it remained for most of the 20th century. After his death, it passed to his daughter, who then sold it at an auction at Christie's in 1993. But no one involved in the selling was aware of the research that had already been conducted on the chart. The auction listing claimed it was created around the year 1500, and it was purchased for £56,500, and relisted again with Christie's in 2022 with the same cataloging. However, this time, Alex Clausen, the president of one of our longtime sponsors and supporters of this channel, Barry Lawrence Ruderman Antique Maps, better known here as raremaps.com, believed this map was significantly older, made sometime around the 1420s. 73 flags are shown on the map, indicating political affiliations of different lands. Many of these flags had long changed by the date Christie's gave the map. The 1993 cataloger at Christie's appears to have barely acknowledged the flag's importance in dating the map. The listing does mention that if created after 1530, that Malta instead of Rhodes should have the cross of the Order of St. John of Jerusalem. Hospitaller Rhodes lasted from 1310 to 1522 before being conquered by the Ottomans and moving its headquarters to Malta. But this flag wasn't the best choice to figure out the chart's age. Cartographers were slow to acknowledge the loss, and the flag changes weren't made on maps until well after 1522. Recognizing poor research, the antique map dealers purchased it for $239,400. The team spent hundreds of hours researching. The map was examined by a medievalist, it was even carbon dated, and they came across those scholarly articles that had been written going back to the 1880s. Everything came to the same conclusion, that Alex was right. It was older than Christie's had it listed as. But it wasn't created around 1420, but 1360. Alex had rediscovered and obtained a map of immense importance to the history of cartography. And now, for the first time, we can see and appreciate it, and in high definition. Let's take a look at some other notable features not already mentioned. 2 lakes are drawn as the source of the Nile. This myth can be traced back to the writings of Ptolemy, who claimed they were created by melting snow from the mythical mountains of the moon. This is the first time these lakes are clearly depicted on a portolan chart. This again highlights the interest that early Renaissance cartographers had in Ptolemy, as well as their knowledge on him. But Ptolemy's influential Geographia wasn't found and translated into Latin until 1410, so it's unclear how this information was obtained. But it's likely Europeans had acquired it from the work of Arabic cartographers, who had already translated and been using Ptolemy's work. Acquiring this information secondhand may explain the confusion surrounding Ptolemy's identity. Of course, most of this map is not from ancient sources, but of medieval origin. Some of the inland information was likely carried over from Mapamundis, highly stylized maps of the world made during the Middle Ages. But this information really isn't all that relevant to portolans, so the inland areas are usually left relatively blank. With a focus on marine navigation, portolans highlight shorelines and display the names of ports. The Rex Ptolemaious map likely took most of its shoreline information from older portolan charts. The earliest portolans originated in the Italian city-states of Genoa and Venice, as well as the island of Majorca. During this period, Italian city-states were evolving into significant economic and cultural centers in both Europe and the Mediterranean region. This transformation was largely fueled by maritime trade. This created a clear need for updated navigational tools and knowledge. The emergence of portolan charts was a natural response to this demand. These cities eventually became the birthplaces of some of history's most famous explorers. This portolan chart does, however, have information not seen on both earlier and later charts. Most noteworthy would probably be the information in the British Isles. Most charts left this region relatively empty of information. The west coast of Scotland and the northern coast of Ireland were not typically of much interest to portolan chart makers, as there were few commercial connections with the cities the charts were made in. But a member of the Corsini family, the Rex Ptolemaious map was originally found with, had set up a banking business in London in the 1340s. This may explain why this chart has so many ports labeled in this region. The map also provides a level of detail about offshore islands unparalleled by other maps of the era. The information on the ports and islands indicates that a distinctive but currently unknown source was used that was rich in northern Atlantic knowledge. To the east is High Brazil, a mythical island that was said to be a paradise that gave its residents eternal happiness and immortality, but it only appeared one day every 7 years. High Brazil was common on maps of the era, but this was one of its first depictions on a map, the first being the 1330 chart by Angelino Dolcetti. To the north is Norway. The text states, "Norway is a wild and most freezing kingdom. It is mountainous with forests that never bloom. It has one port that is heavily shaken by tempestuous weather. Its people live from bread. There are wild mules and white bears and falcons. The people are unable to navigate fast because of the great cold." Just to the west is Iceland. Within it reads that there are many fishermen. We could go on for hours picking out every interesting detail on this 14th century time capsule, some of which may have not been noticed since its rediscovery. Few eyes have seen this map, let alone studied it. I think its current cataloging puts it best. The importance of this chart for the history of cartography has only just begun to be unraveled, but it is already clear that it has the potential to transform our knowledge of the birth of modern mapmaking. So I encourage you to take a look and maybe you'll make your own discoveries. You can check out the map at raremaps.com. I've left a direct link to the map in the description below. As mentioned earlier, it's in high definition, and their cataloging also goes into further detail than this video. And if you're interested in purchasing the map, it's up for sale for $7.5 million. But if that's a little over budget, they also have maps for as low as $125. They have antique maps of just about every country and major city you can think of. Again, that's raremaps.com. Also, thank you to all my Patreon and YouTube members for supporting the channel, and thank you all for watching.